This lesson is on complex fractions. It looks and sounds way worse than it is. I'm going to try to give you some tips that will hopefully make this feel and look a little bit easier to you once we get going. A complex fraction is when you have a fraction within a fraction, or two fractions within a fraction. So like I said, it looks pretty darn intimidating. But we know that a fraction bar really just means to divide. So what I teach my students is to make a snowman. I know, make a snowman. It sounds stupid. Here's another one of Luger's goofy things, but it really will help you see it. So step one, you're going to locate the fraction bar that appears to be longer or bigger than the others. Some math worksheets and books will make one of them bolder than the others or longer than the others, but one of them will stand out in some way. So on this problem here, here's the longer one. So what you're going to do, and if it helps you can even trace over that, but identify which one is the longer one. And then you're going to put one circle around everything on the top and one circle around everything on the bottom. Now you got to use your imagination a little bit, but there's my snowman. You've got a head, you've got a body, and you've got arms. I know it doesn't really look like a snowman, but just like if you watched my video or if you're in my class when we talked about subtracting a negative, my students call them face problems. So my students call these snowman problems, and it helps them remember. So what you do then is you take whatever was written or whatever was circled on top of that fraction, you write that down. 2/3. The snowman's arms, that division bar, represents division. So I'm going to put divided by. And then whatever was in the circle on the bottom, you write that down. My classes have already studied dividing fractions by this point. So we know that we keep it, we change it, and we flip it to 5/4. And now we're going to solve it just like we did all those dividing fractions problems. You can get 10/12 and then reduce, or you guys know I like smaller numbers when I can get them. So I'm going to cross reduce and make this a 1 and a 2. And that gives me 5/6. That big messy problem really just represents 5/6. We're going to do the same thing on this next one. So identify the fraction bar that looks to be a little bit longer or bigger or bolder. Then put one circle around everything on the top, one circle around everything on the bottom. There's your snowman. Whatever was on the top, write that down, 9/10. The snowman's arms, that fraction bar represents division. And then write down what was on the bottom. From there, you keep it, you change it, and you flip it. So you can get 18/10, or you can cross reduce. That's going to give you 9/5. And I'm okay with that. Or if you want to convert it, 5 goes in there one time with 4 leftovers. 9/5 or 1 4/5 for that one. Same deal on these, except the value that's on the top is just a whole number. It's not a whole fraction. You still need to locate the fraction bar that looks like it's a little bit bigger than the rest. So that's this one right here. That's going to be his arms. Put one circle around everything above, one circle around everything below. So this problem really says 8 divided by 3/4. I'm going to make that 8/1. And then I'm going to keep it 8/1, change it to times, flip it to 4/3. Nothing cross reduces, so I'm just going to go ahead and multiply and get 32/3. You can leave it that way, or 3 goes in there 10 times with 2/3 left over. What you might want to do is hit pause. I've shown you 3 of them. Try to do this next one, and then resume the video and see if your answer matches mine. Okay, I hope you tried it. Here's his arms. One circle around everything above, one circle around everything below. So my snowman is really showing me 12 divided by 5/6. I'm going to make that 12/1, and then I'm going to keep it, change it, and flip it. Nothing cross reduces, so just go ahead and multiply. You'll get 72 over 5. Or 5 will go in there 14 times. That would be 70. So 2/5 left over. I really think the snowmen help you to see it more. The circles make the parts stand out. And to me, at least, it doesn't look quite as overwhelming and intimidating as it does in the beginning. Here's what happens when the number on the bottom is a whole number. Still identify the one that's bigger. Circle everything on top one time, everything on bottom one time. So it's kind of like an upside down snowman. Take the 14/15 divided by 7, but that's really 7 over 1. You still need to keep it, change it, and flip it. I'm going to cross reduce the 7 and the 14 by 7s. And then across the top, I get 2, and across the bottom, I get 5. All right, this would be another good time for you to pause it and try it. See what you can do on this next problem, and then hit play and see if we match. All right, here's my answer for this one. There's his arms. One circle on the top, one circle on the bottom. So then I'm going to take 5/8 divided by 4, which is really 4 over 1. I'm going to keep it, change it, and flip it. Across the top, 5 times 1 is 5, and across the bottom, 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, if they have mixed numbers in them, just like when you're multiplying and dividing fractions, you need to change those mixed numbers to improper. I think it's still going to be helpful on this to identify which one is the arms first, and go ahead and circle the top, circle the bottom, make your snowman. I still think that just makes it look a lot less intimidating, but you have to remember from this part to make those improper. If you want to go ahead and write down 3.5 divided by 1 1/5, that's okay. But this is really 7 over 2 divided by 6 over 5. Then I need to keep it, change it, and flip it. Nothing reduces on this one, so just multiply across and across. 35 over 12 is okay, or 12 goes in there 2 times with 11 leftovers. Okay, so you know what I'm going to say. Hit pause and try the next one, and then resume the video, and we'll see if we match. All right, so I am going to identify his arms, circle the top, circle the bottom. So this really tells me 9 1/3 divided by 1/2. I'm going to make that 28 over 3, change it to times, and flip it to 2 over 1. Nothing cross reduces. So across the top, I get 56, and across the bottom, I get 3. You can leave it that way, or 3 would go in there 18 times. That would be 54, and you would have 2/3 left over. Last type of problems that you'll see in this section is when you're starting with a fraction percent and you're asked to change that to a simplified fraction. It doesn't just mean take off the percent and say, look, I've got a fraction. You need to know that fraction actually means out of 100. So 16 1/4% actually means 16 1/4 out of 100. Now it's a snowman problem. So there's his arms, circle the top, circle the bottom. This says 16 1/4 divided by 100. I'm going to make those improper. Whoops. So that would be 65 over 4 divided by 100 over 1. So that's 65 over 4 times 1 over 100. You can do 65 over 400 and reduce, or I know 65 and 100, I can divide them both by 5s. 5 goes in here 13 times, and it goes in here 20 times. Across the top, I get 13. Across the bottom, I get 80. 13 over 80. If you want to know if you're right on these, the easiest thing to do is pick up your calculator, take the top of your answer divided by the bottom of your answer. 13 divided by 80 gives me 0.1625. To change a decimal to a fraction, you scoot to the right. So 16.25, that is 16 and a fourth. 0.25 and a fourth are the same. So I know I'm good. The very last problem here, percent means out of 100. So I'm going to put 8 and a sixth over 100. Make my snowman. So then I have 8 and 1/6 divided by 100. Make them improper. So that's 49 over 6 divided by 100 over 1. Keep it, change it, flip it. 49 over 6 times 1 over 100. And then multiply across, you get 49 over 600. That does not reduce. Again, if you want to make sure you're right, pick up a calculator. Do top divided by bottom. 49 divided by 600 is 0.0816 repeating. Scoot to the right, and it would be 8.16 repeating. That is the same as 8 and 1/6. That's the end of that lesson. I hope the snowman problems made it a little bit easier for you to see and understand. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, watch any of my videos. My students know how to get to those on Canvas. And please don't hesitate to reach out if there's something I can help you with. See you next time. Bye.